Before the 2023 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership.
All right, let's talk about Caitlin Clark, the rookie who's basically telling the WNBA, yeah, I'm here to break the game, coming off an insane college career where she made defenders look like traffic cones. She's now stepping up for the Indiana Fever like she's got something to prove, and boy, is she delivering. She's hitting shots from ridiculous distances, leaving everyone wondering if she's got the basketball equivalent of a cheat code. Now let's be real, Clark's always been a sniper. You could put her on the moon and she'd still drain threes like it's a free throw. It's just what she does. Ever since she burst onto the scene, she's had this uncanny ability to casually hit shots from deep. And when I say deep, I mean deep. Like, is she pulling up from the locker room? Deep. Some players hesitate at the arc. Caitlin sees the arc and says, nah, I'm good back here, thanks. But it's not all deep threes and highlight reels. Caitlin's finding out real quick that the WNBA isn't here to roll out the red carpet for her.
You want to watch the best shooter in college basketball. It's Caitlin Clark.
She's still draining shots, but now she's learning what it's like when the league starts hitting back. She's out here making NBA comparisons look shaky. Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Klay Thompson, all legends when it comes to shooting. But Caitlin's like, hey fellas, mind if I pull up a chair? She's got people genuinely comparing her range to Steph's, and that's not something you hear every day.
Can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer.
The numbers are wild too. Caitlin's dropping bombs from 30 feet at a clip of 35%. For comparison, Curry, the guy who invented the deep ball trend, is only hitting 26% from that range. Sure, there's the whole NBA ball versus WNBA ball thing, but let's not act like that takes away from what she's doing. I don't care if it's a beach ball, hitting that many from that far is absurd. Fans? Oh, they're buzzing like they just saw a UFO. She's changing the game. One says, another fan's out here saying Caitlin's basically rewriting the rules of what's possible in women's basketball. And honestly, who can argue? You've got a rookie stepping into a grown-up league and bending the game to her will. She's not just a shooter, she's a walking highlight reel, and every deep shot she nails is like a gut punch to the opposition. So what's next for Caitlin? Well, if her rookie season is anything to go by, she's not just aiming to make waves, she's planning to sink the whole damn ship. Keep sleeping on her if you want. She'll just keep pulling up from 30 feet and making you regret it.
We used to it being proper and, you know, and having sportsmanship, and like you foul somebody, you pick them up and say, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, Caitlin's deep shots are making headlines, but let's not pretend it's all highlight reels and 30-foot daggers. The WNBA is giving her a rude welcome, and it shows. She's not in Iowa anymore. This is a league filled with players who've been around the block, and Caitlin's feeling every bump along the way. Her Indiana Fever squad? Well, let's just say they're having a rough go of it. 2 wins in 11 games is the kind of record that has you rethinking your life choices. And while Caitlin's dropping buckets from the parking lot, the wins just aren't piling up. Why? It's not just her. This Fever team looks disjointed. They're young, inexperienced, and frankly, they're struggling to figure out how to play together. Caitlin's trying to run the show, but leading a team in the pros, it's a whole different beast. And let's not forget about that foul from Chennedy Carter. Yeah, the one that had everybody talking. Caitlin took a hit that seemed more like a WWE move than a basketball play, and it sent a clear message. The WNBA isn't going to roll out a red carpet for her. There's no welcome committee. No, hey, we're glad you're here, Caitlin. Nah, this league is filled with competitors who aren't about to let a rookie waltz in and steal the spotlight, no matter how many deep shots she sinks. That foul wasn't just physical, it was psychological. It was a reminder that Caitlin's got a target on her back and she better be ready for it.
Caitlin Clark talks her shit. Caitlin Clark is demonstrative. Caitlin Clark.
But here's the weird part. Where were her teammates when she got clobbered? If this were a movie, you'd expect them to rush over, fists raised, ready to back their star. Except that's not really what happened. The reaction was lukewarm at best. You'd think the #1 pick would have the whole squad riding for her, but it's been more of a figure-it-out-yourself vibe. It makes you wonder, are they really vibing with Caitlin, or is there some tension simmering under the surface? That brings us to her playing style. Caitlin's out here trying to thread the needle with impossible passes, but here's the catch. She's also threading the needle right into the defense's hands. Leading the league in turnovers isn't exactly what you want on your resume. She's got the vision and the confidence, but sometimes it looks like she's trying to do too much. And those turnovers, yeah, they're not just costing her stats, they're costing her team games. Frustration is creeping in, and this isn't the first time we've seen it from her. Back at Iowa, she was known for her fire, sometimes to a fault. If her teammates weren't keeping up, she wasn't shy about showing her displeasure. Remember the stories about her storming off the court during practice, or straight up refusing to pass to certain teammates? That "I expect you to be at my level" mentality worked when she was the queen of college hoops, but in the pros? It's not always playing out so smoothly. There's a fine line between demanding greatness and alienating your team. Caitlin's walking that line right now, and at times, it looks like she's losing her balance. The talent's undeniable, no one's questioning that, but if she doesn't figure out how to gel with her squad and dial back the frustration, she might find herself in a tougher spot than expected. The WNBA is ruthless like that, so what's next? Does she adapt, smooth out the edges, and become the leader Indiana needs, or do the struggles continue, pushing her and her team to the breaking point? One thing's for sure, everyone's watching, waiting to see if Caitlin Clark's star keeps rising or burns out trying to carry a team that isn't ready for prime time. Here's where things start getting spicy, because it's not just what Caitlin's doing on the court that's got people talking. Fans, commentators, and even Brittany Mahomes are chiming in. Yeah, that Brittany Mahomes. After Caitlin had one of her rougher games, Mahomes slid in with some words of encouragement, which was nice and all. But let's be real, this is the WNBA. Caitlin doesn't need pep talks. She needs support from her squad, and let's be honest, a coach that doesn't leave everyone scratching their heads. And right now, there's a whole lot of scratching going on. The Fever's coach, Christy Sides, is feeling the heat. We're talking, is her seat on fire levels of heat. People are calling for her head after some questionable decisions in a recent loss to the Sparks. And by questionable, I mean, what was that rotation? When your star player is struggling and your team's chemistry is shaky, you gotta pull it together, but instead, we're getting calls for a coaching change. Like this is some mid-season soap opera.
Against every type of defense, defender, the best that the female has. She's seen it.
But here's the real plot twist. Caitlin getting snubbed by the US Olympic team. Yeah, you heard that right, they left her off the roster, and while it seemed like a slap in the face at first, Caitlin flipped the narrative. Instead of sulking about missing out on the biggest stage, she turned that rejection into a recharge session. And honestly, it might have been exactly what she needed. She came back refreshed, focused, and ready to remind everyone who she is. Did Team USA miss her? Nope. They casually secured their 8th consecutive gold medal like it was just another day at the office. But Caitlin, the second she got back on the court, she snatched the spotlight like she never left. She's out here setting WNBA records, and she's not just doing it with her game, she's doing it with her attitude. Getting a technical foul? No biggie. She thanks the ref. Caitlin Clark, ladies and gentlemen, the only player who can turn a tech into a viral moment. And don't forget her tongue-in-cheek comment about her salary, because if you're going to break records, you might as well break the internet too. But wait, of course Angel Reese wasn't about to let Caitlin have all the attention. Whether she's on the court or not, Angel's always ready to keep this rivalry alive. Caitlin and Angel may not have been on the court at the same time, but trust me, the drama is real. After the Fever barely scraped out an 84-79 win over the Atlanta Dream, Reese found a way to make sure people were talking about her, because of course she did. Now, I'm not saying there's a full-on feud brewing between these two, but let's just call it what it is, a cold war. Caitlin might have won the game, but Angel's keeping the spotlight warm, and you better believe this saga isn't over yet. Speaking of that win, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing for the Fever. Atlanta almost flipped the script in the fourth quarter, outscoring Indiana 20-14 and giving them a real scare. But when it counted, the Fever's big three, Caitlin, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston, showed up. Kelsey Mitchell, absolute flamethrower. She dropped a game-high 29 points, shooting like she had something to prove, which, let's be honest, she probably did after that shaky game against the Lynx. Aaliyah Boston dominating the paint like it's her personal playground, casually picking up a double-double with 14 points and 11 boards. And Caitlin, just doing Caitlin things. She threw up 19 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and dished out 7 assists. All in a day's work for someone who's out here rewriting the game. Together, this trio has become the backbone of the Fever, and if they can keep this momentum going, maybe they'll do more than just bounce back from a tough loss. They might actually start turning some heads, but until then, the spotlight and the drama ain't going anywhere. Buckle up, because this ride is just getting started. This win wasn't just another tally in the Fever's Fever's W column, it was a statement. Now sitting at 14-16, Indiana's holding on to that 7th playoff spot like a lifeline, but the ripple effect from this game, it's shaking up the whole playoff race. And you can bet Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky are paying attention. The Sky, who came into Monday night clinging to a half-game lead over Atlanta for the 8th and final playoff spot, just saw that cushion get a little bit cozier. With Atlanta dropping to 10-19 after getting clipped by the Fever, Chicago's got themselves a full game of breathing room. At this point in the season, every win is like gold, and every loss a potential disaster. The Dream's fall to Indiana was one of those playoff picture-shifting moments, but leave it to Angel Reese to make sure she stays in the spotlight even when she's not on the court. The second the final buzzer sounded, Reese hopped on social media and dropped a video of herself dancing after one of Chicago's games. No caption, just vibes, and a whole lot of speculation. I mean, come on, the timing was way too perfect to be a coincidence.
It's obvious she's jealous of Caitlyn. Every interview, every tweet, everything is about Caitlyn.
So what was Angel really doing here? Was this just a celebratory jig because the Dream took an L, conveniently helping her squad out? Or was it more than that? Maybe a subtle jab at Caitlyn and the Fever? Like, yeah, I see you, but I'm still dancing on top. You never know with Angel Reese. Her moves are as calculated as her post-game rituals. Every social media post feels like it's loaded with meaning, especially when it's in the orbit of her rivalry with Caitlin Clark. And let's be real, this Clark-Reese thing is far from over. Their college matchups were the kind of battles you still hear about in barbershops and Twitter threads. And now that they've carried that rivalry into the WNBA, every game feels like it has some extra spice. They don't even have to be on the court at the same time to stir up drama. Angel's video might be some playful taunting, a little dance just to remind everyone she's still here, or maybe she's psyching herself up for the next inevitable showdown with Caitlyn and the Fever. Whatever it is, Angel knows exactly how to keep herself in the conversation, even when she's not playing. She's like a master of mind games, staying in Caitlyn's head rent-free while getting everyone else to talk about her too. It's a page straight out of the NBA playbook. Think Draymond Green level off-court antics, keeping the rivalry hot and the fans hyped. And speaking of the fans, they're eating this up. The stakes are getting higher, the playoff race is tighter than ever, and players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark thrive in these high-pressure moments. This whole season has felt like a roller coaster, and now we're in the part where the twists and turns start coming at you faster than you can keep up. Indiana's win was crucial, but it's also just one piece in this high-stakes chess match. The Fever and Sky are both jockeying for position, and with Angel stirring the pot off the court, it's clear the drama is only going to escalate from here.
She's displaying some skill, and she's moving fast. It look like everybody on that court is way slower than her when she get into her stuff.
As much as Caitlin Clark's been lighting it up, let's not act like her journey's been all smooth sailing. During her time at Iowa, she built one of the most iconic college careers we've ever seen. Endless highlights, absurd range, and the type of performances that made her a household name. So when the Indiana Fever snagged her with the #1 overall pick, the hype was real. Fans couldn't wait to see how her college domination would translate to the WNBA, and the expectations were straight up through the roof. But here's the thing, Clark's rookie season has been a wild ride, full of jaw-dropping moments that remind you why she's considered a generational talent, but also sprinkled with some rookie struggles that show even the best have a learning curve. One night she's out there taking over games like she's back at Iowa, hitting clutch shots and carrying her squad on her back. The next, she's getting roughed up by the pace and physicality of the league, dealing with turnovers and struggling through rough shooting stretches. It's the kind of inconsistency that even superstars go through when they're new to the pro level. But then came Sunday, where everything seemed to click for her. In a game against the Chicago Sky, Clark reminded everyone exactly why she was the top pick, delivering a performance that was nothing short of masterful. She dropped 23 points, dished out 9 assists, and grabbed 8 rebounds, doing a little bit of everything like she was in her own personal highlight reel. This wasn't just a good game, it was the kind of all-around performance that shows how she can completely control a game. It's the versatility that makes her scary for the rest of the league. After the game, Caitlyn kept it real about the struggles of her first year. I've had some good games, and I've had some games where there's definitely some learning opportunities, she said in her post-game presser, not sugarcoating a thing. And you gotta respect that honesty. She's figuring out that the WNBA isn't a cakewalk, it's a grind. The schedule's relentless, the competition is next level, and there's barely time to catch your breath between games, let alone practice. And let's not forget, this league is full of veterans who aren't giving rookies any grace.
That's what sucks about it, but like I said, I'm proud of our team. Like, you know, we battled, we fought.
That said, it's not like we haven't seen glimpses of what Caitlin can be when she's locked in. Take her performance on June 6th, for example. The Fever took down the Washington Mystics, and Clark went off, dropping 30 points with 8 boards, 6 assists, and 4 steals. She was unstoppable, and it was a big, fat reminder of her ceiling. But flip the script to her game right before that. A nightmare against the Liberty, where she managed just 3 points on a brutal 1-10 shooting. It's like watching 2 different players. This roller coaster, one night being the player and the next struggling to get anything going, is the biggest challenge Caitlin's facing right now. And to be fair, that's pretty standard for rookies. She knows it too. The thing is, she's not just trying to make it, she's trying to be great. And being great in the WNBA means finding consistency in a league where everyone's gunning for you night in and night out. But despite the ups and downs, one thing's crystal clear. Her potential is off the charts. She's already putting up numbers that should have everyone on notice, and she's doing it while navigating one of the toughest transitions in sports. Every game, every challenge is just another step in her evolution. And if she can iron out those rough spots and get her consistency down, the rest of the league better be ready, because Caitlin Clark is going to be a problem for a long time.
Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit.
Let's be honest, if there's one thing you can count on with Caitlin Clark, it's that she's a certified bucket. But on this particular day, she wasn't just lighting it up from deep, she was serving up dimes like a bartender on New Year's Eve. Caitlin dropped 9 assists, setting a WNBA record for the most by a rookie in a single season, bringing her total to 232. Oh, and she's just 22 years old. No big deal. The overall record of 316 set by Alyssa Thomas last year is already looking shaky. Caitlin's not just knocking on the door of history, she's got her foot halfway through it. But let's not kid ourselves, it wasn't all sunshine and record breaking. Caitlin's fire got the best of her when she missed a shot in the third quarter, and in true competitive fashion, she took out her frustration on the basket. One punch to the base later, and boom. 5th technical foul of the season, get 2 more, and she's riding the bench for a game. The ref didn't hold back, calling it disrespectful to the game of basketball. Caitlin's response? Classic. She basically shrugged and said, "I'm just that competitive," flipping the scolding into fuel. Only Caitlin Clark could turn getting a tech into extra motivation. That's elite level trolling right there. And then there's her sense of humor. After her teammate Lexi Hull dropped a career high 22 points against the Seattle Storm, the media asked Hull if she'd treat her family to season tickets. Before Lexi could even answer, Caitlin jumped in, joking, "Those are pretty expensive. It's like our entire salary to get those." I'm not kidding. We need people to help. Caitlin's base salary this year? A whopping $76,535. Not exactly NBA money, right? But let's be clear, Caitlin isn't scraping by. She raked in an estimated $3 million while still in college through NIL deals, and she's already got monster contracts with Nike, Wilson, Gatorade, and half the Fortune 500 at this point. With endorsements rolling in faster than her three-pointers, she's projected to earn a staggering $400 million over her career. Yeah, you read that right. So when Caitlin cracks jokes about WNBA salaries, she's not worried about her own pockets. She's standing up for her teammates, players like Lexi Hull, who's earning just over $77K this season, while guys in the NBA are making that per quarter. Caitlin's out here backing her team, no questions asked. She even joked about turning her entire social media into a Lexi Hull fan page after Hull's big night. It's moments like this that show Caitlin's not just about stacking records or cash. She's using her platform to elevate the conversation around the pay gap in pro basketball, and she's not afraid to call it like she sees it. So what's next for the Caitlin Clark show? Easy, she'll keep shattering records, making headlines, and stacking her millions. Whether it's on the court or off, Caitlin's name isn't going away anytime soon. What's your take on Caitlin's rookie season? Hit the comments with your hot takes, and don't forget to subscribe for more sports drama. Trust me, the next one's gonna stir the pot even more.